Hello and welcome to Review Energy. We connect today with Rated Power because this company was one of the sponsors in Energyear Philippines, and I have the pleasure of speaking with Alicia Herrera. She's sales manager for Iberia, so it's Asia-Japón for Rated Power. Thank you for being us, Alicia. How are you?
Thank you, Wendy. I'm very good and happy to be here with Review Energy. This time virtually, but always happy to see you.
Yes, and we are going to see you like soon, and I'm sure about it. My first question is where Rated Power is expanding in Asia, including the Philippines. So, what has been your main entry point into the region, and how are you evolving in such a diverse market?
Okay, yeah, really good question. Well, as you know, Rated Power, we work globally and we have already entered into several regions such as Latin America, North America, and Europe, Middle East. So we have the experience of getting into new regions, new markets, and what we always do, it's kind of similar. So the first thing that we do is always to partner with local EPCs, IPPs, developers. We try to understand our clients and the companies that work in the sector as much as possible to really understand how we can provide the most value to these type of companies. We know that it depends on the country, it depends on the region. There's different regulations, different aspects that the companies have to take into account when developing projects. So understanding firsthand from them, it's the first step that we have to do to really get into a market. Then the software is global. The software is a platform that can be accessed from anywhere. But the idea when we develop the software is that it can also be used for any project anywhere in the world. So you can use the software to configure your PV project or your best project, taking into account all those regulations, all those specific configurations of each market. So it's not only understanding the client, but also providing with a software that can be used in many different locations. And the third pillar, or the third point that we always tackle is customer support. We always we think that being close to our clients, not only before to understand them, but also when they are using the software, it's critical for the success of our integration with the market. So we have customer success teams that are like scattered around the world, and some of the team members are going to be focused on the Southeast Asia region, Australia, Japan, so that we can cover those regions both in terms of physical closeness and also in terms of cultural closeness.
So client first, global software, and customer support.
Yes.
And my second question, Alicia, is what are you planning to expand your presence in Asia Pacific in the next few years? Which countries also are you focused on? And what lessons from places like Latin America or Europe are you applying to this region, to Asia Pacific?
Okay. So as you were saying, Asia Pacific is very big. I mean, it's very broad. It has many different countries. All of them are kind of different. So what we try to understand is what countries have a faster growth forecasted for the next coming years, or a more intensive need in terms of speed. As you know, the software offers speed, and it makes the process of designing and doing the engineering of PV projects easier and faster. And those key aspects are critical for early stage development. So all those countries that have very um, ambitious targets for the following years, that want to implement PV BESS in an intensive way, but also are in a very early stage. Those are our main targets. So in this case, we know that Philippines is one of the most mature markets in the region, but it's also one of the countries with more ambitious goals. So that's why it's also one of our main targets for the region, and where we want to focus. We are also working closely with companies in Malaysia, in Indonesia, and also in Australia. Um, And then if we look a bit north, we have clients also in Japan, which is not kind of like that close, but that's a region that we also want to focus on during the next year. And I think we have experience from what we have done in other countries like Europe, like Latin America, and I have said this in other moments for Spain, but like the experience that we have in some countries, it's very beneficial for entering new markets because what has happened in one country, it's probably going to happen somewhere else. Like we see the curtailment happening in Chile, and then we see these happening again in Spain. So all the challenges and all the things that we have been seeing in other countries are going to happen in Southeast Asia, and I think that gives us a very good position to understand our clients, understand what they are suffering from right now, and that what they could be suffering from in the future, and therefore support them better.
Yes, of course. I think if you have the history, you can predict also, no? So yes, we are agree that the renewable sector in Philippines is at a key moment. Based on your experience, I want to know with international developers. I want to know what do you see as the main challenge or opportunities to speed up new solar projects in the country.
Okay. So the Philippines is, as I was saying, like one of the more developed countries in terms of PV development. It's also one country that has many challenges, but I think that's common to everywhere in the world. But we see that as they are starting to deploy these PV projects and they want to implement these huge amount of megawatts in a short period of time, they are going to face a lot of the problems that many other countries have been suffering from. And what I believe that the companies are going to like suffer from is the need for adaptability. Like with new regulations, with new tenders, new actions coming out, every single one of them will have different criteria, different requirements, different challenges. So the companies need to adapt to all those challenges and to all those new criteria in a very fast way. And that's a challenge itself because when you are developing a project and you start doing all the engineering, it takes weeks. And when you need to adapt to one of those changes, that can change the outlook of your project in matter of minutes. So the companies that are able to adapt to these challenges in a very fast and efficient way are the ones that are going to win more opportunities. Apart from that, we know that the deployment of huge amounts of megawatts of renewable energy into the grid, that also creates an instability, that creates curtailment, that creates those blockages in the interconnection side of the project. So being able to have those inputs or those assumptions into your early stage developments is going to be critical for the Philippines. Now, more as they have released the auctions for the next 5 years, I think you already have the visibility of how much power is going to be installed and types of generation that are going to be installed. So you can prepare beforehand, include battery systems in your projects, take into account where the grid is going to be developed, where the substations are. So having all those things into account is going to be a challenge, but also an opportunity for the companies that can do that faster and at a very early stage.
And Alicia, to finish this chat, this interview, how is digitalization changing solar projects in emerging markets, and how do tools like rated power, of course, help make them faster and more efficient?
Okay. Thank you, Wendy, for the question. So I think digitalization is part of everyone's life and it can be applied to many different things. In Rated Power, we want companies to apply the digital tools to their projects and to their engineering processes. Rated Power allows the companies to do fast iterations, fast designs, take into account all the different variables of a project, and make more informed decisions when doing the development of a project, not only in terms of technical uh, design or technical outputs, but also in terms of economical outputs. So they will know how the project is going to look like with the layout, the bill of quantities, but also the financial analysis and the main KPIs in a very fast way. So using digital tools such as Rated Power to get all this data that if you had to do them manually, it would take weeks. That's a life-changing tool. And I know that this has happened to many of our clients in many different parts of the world, but I think in fast markets or rapidly evolving markets that have increasing competition, it's even more critical. And we believe that changing to a digital solution when you are already losing market space or when you are already losing opportunities is doing it late. So I encourage everyone to really make the change when you are in your best situation possible, because you are never too late to improve your processes, to improve your results and how you approach the projects.
Mhm. Thank you very much, Alicia, for being with us today in Review Energy. Hopefully, we see you in pools and in key energy transition in Italy. And thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much, Wendy, and thank you as always, Review Energy. It's always a pleasure, and I'm sure that we will see each other in many other events in the future.
Yes, very soon. Thank you.